All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be breaking down the Monday Night Showdown here between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. A pretty fun game. Let's go ahead and get into it. And so, as always, I like to start off with a quick preview of this game. Looking at the game total, it is kind of shocking. The game total, 45.5, about 46 potentially. But what's more shocking is that the Chiefs are favored to win by 9 points. And I know Tampa Bay is banged up. They're without their top two receivers. I get that. But they played decent last week. Do I expect that to continue against a better defense than the Chiefs? Probably not, though. That's the thing. Looking at the Chiefs as well, like they get one more week, potentially just DeAndre Hopkins being more acclimated to the offense. That should bode well for them as well. So I kind of get it. Obviously, we're going to want to make builds based off of that game script as well. And so let's start out here with the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, they're going to be a little bit easier to predict in terms of who we want to be going out of our way to target. I am a little bit surprised at the price difference between like Kelsey and like Kareem Hunt or even Patrick Mahomes. Kelsey's been much more involved in the offense lately with obviously Isaiah Pacheco being injured, but also Rashid Rice being injured. It's kind of been forced. They've been forced to use him more. And so I don't mind him as a captain's pick, but regardless, he's going to be someone we're looking at this week. The one player I kind of don't love is Xavier Worthy. I feel like he is just a captain's only play. We're at this price. I say this a bunch, but if he's in a GPP winning lineup, I think it's going to be because he goes off in the captain spot and not many people are on him. He is a boom or bust type player. Now, yes, they try to get him more involved last week than really I think they should. Honestly, 8 targets, 4 receptions, but he still only played about 52% of the snaps. So I worry about kind of his floor. And so I think he's just a better ceiling play. Kareem Hunt, if you look at some of the props that are out there for him, 15.5 rush attempts, 17 rush attempts are some of the prop lines that are out there for him. So he should be heavily involved in this offense is kind of what that data is telling us. The average like fantasy score line is about 14 as well. So if we just get that production out of him, he's still going to be a good play for us. Very solid and consistent producer. The per carry stats are not popping. I get that, but I think we can kind of ignore that. A lot of that, it just comes down to some sort of situational plays where he didn't necessarily have to break a big one, just had to get a first down. The biggest question mark on the slate is really what will the role be like for DeAndre Hopkins? And no one really knows the answer to that, guys. They don't. Is he going to play more snaps? Probably. I would assume so. But this is one of those spots where until we see it, I don't want to chase it. I thought he looked good. He's looked good this whole year. He might honestly be more injured than what was reported, because there have been spots where it's like, all right, he's going to break out here, and he hasn't. And so that could be it. I thought he's looked good, but we'll see. And if he does play more, that probably would mean less snaps for Justin Watson, who's been playing about 70% of the snaps. Finally had a decent game last week, but to me, guys, kind of who's been the second passing weapon in this offense a little bit in terms of like design plays and going out of their way to get him the football has actually been Noah Gray. And so Noah Gray as price tag, I think, is one of the better values that we have on the slate, 2.8. At least for the Chiefs. For the Bucs, we're going to have some nice dart throws. But I think value-wise, Noah Gray makes a bunch of sense. And the Bucs do struggle against stopping the pass in general, but against tight ends as well. So I don't mind that route. And then you could try to get fun with like Hardman or something, but I don't feel the need to do that. So I do think we want to play Patrick Mahomes. This is his easiest matchup of the season thus far. And he's looked good. He's scrambling a decent amount. Finally threw for 2 passing touchdowns last week. This does seem like a spot where it could finally be like a really kind of a breakout game for this offense. So let's jump in here to the Bucs now. And so looking at Baker Mayfield, I don't know. I almost feel like he's an easy fade. Kind of looking at some of the sportsbook data that's coming in. Vegas is expecting him to not play well here against the Chiefs. And that's obviously going to be because he's going to be without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. And so I could see that happening. I do struggle getting to him as a play. One play that I do really like is going to be Cade Otton, who's been playing about 90% of the snaps, has had a massive workload with those two players getting injured. 10 targets, just very good production, 20 fantasy points. I do think we want to be playing him. He's going to be kind of an easy click, I would say. And then we got Rashad White and Bucky Irving in their toughest matchup of the season thus far. We look at the targets. That's the biggest thing for White. And also for Bucky Irving last week, that's if you're playing one of these two, and I would only suggest playing one of them, just given the matchup, you're playing them to really get that usage in the passing game. And I don't exactly want to bank on that there. So for me, where we're going to get our plays here is going to be with the receivers. So you got McMillan, who's a little bit banged up. I think we're expecting him to play. He played about 80% of the snaps last week, ended up with 7 targets. I'm happy to play him as kind of a flex option, but we have other receivers that are really kind of popping up as decent plays as well. Trey Palmer's going to play a little bit. He's kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if he scores a touchdown. He's kind of like Andre Yoshivas in a sense where maybe we're not expecting a massive game out of him, but I think he has a good chance of scoring a touchdown on any random game or in any random game. Sterling Shepard's currently questionable as well. Kind of expecting him to play. He did miss 2 practices this week, so a little bit concerned there. But him and Baker certainly do have a rapport going. I would suggest playing one or the other between him or McMillan. Now, they are going to be 9-point dogs in this game, so obviously playing from behind. I don't mind the idea of getting to some pass catchers here for the Bucs. You got Ryan Miller, who ended up playing 40% of the snaps last week. 5 targets in that game. He played decent. He's at a good price, but the one player I think does have a chance to really kind of break out would be Raheem Jarrett, who was someone that was really popping up during the preseason, like NFL preseason slates, just because of the news that was coming out of him. There's a lot of buzz coming out of camp, and then he got injured. That kind of settled that news and buzz, but had a good game last week. I don't mind taking a dart throw on him. I think he's a good kind of value dart throw type play. And so with this, guys, we do have enough value on the slate to the point where we're going to be able to make really whichever builds we kind of want work for the most part. Obviously can't go too crazy, but I don't mind the idea of like maybe game scripting, something like this, maybe Kareem Hunt in the captain spot. And then obviously with this, we really wouldn't be able to get to McMillan. Maybe Buckner I'd be fine with in this build. Like I don't mind doing something like this. That's kind of going to be the route that I'm going with on this slate. I think this is a very solid high floor type of build that we are on. Don't like the fact that we're only getting to 1 Bucs player. Maybe we would change that, but kind of happy to do a build like this. But enough of my thoughts. Let's go ahead and get into what the 9-to-5 lineup builder is telling us is going to be the correct path to go in this game. And so again, guys, as always, just going to give it 2 data points to go off of for it to run. There we go. Boom. And then bumping up Kareem Hunt there. All right, we're going to generate just to see the general builds that's spinning out to us. And then here we go. So not really getting 2 DSTs or any DSTs on the top builds. Kind of interesting there. Patrick Mahomes, Baker in the captain spot, Buckner getting in there, Hunt, McCole Hardman. Kind of okay with that also, I think, again. Jared's fine. Potentially Ryan Miller's fine. And then Travis Kelce. I kind of agree with this line of process that's being spit out to us. It makes perfect sense. So with that, guys, it's going to be all for this video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe. That does help out the channel a lot. If you guys want access to the tools, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to them for just $10 a month. That's going to be all, guys. Thanks for watching. And as always, let's keep cashing.